Hello, everybody. I'm Roadblock, and we are on the main account because I really wanted to show you guys a team that I've been working on pretty hard. Now, I want to be clear that this is not an original idea. I actually got this from Odd One on his channel, and he does go into a lot of depth about it, but I really wanted to communicate this to you guys who may struggle in similar ways I did to make this team. And I also want to talk about why this team is so great and how it can really help those um it can help any account, to be completely honest, because just like a clan boss team, it doesn't require you to hurt anybody anywhere else, okay? And that's the most important thing. So let's talk about kind of what I'm saying here for a second. So when I say a clan boss team, it doesn't hurt anybody else, right? Like, I had Mishinaki in my clan boss team for a long time because he's great in clan boss. He gets a lot of counterattacks, he hits hard, drop defense, um, like he's got a really good kit. HP burn, of course, and I loved having him in there. He put up a lot of damage for me. But then I started getting into Hydra more, and he's really good in Hydra. He has Hex, and he has removing buffs, right? Plus decreased defense and decreased attack. I forgot to mention that. Again, a great buff, a debuff on Clan Boss. So I had to take him out because the speeds I had him in for my unkillable team were hurting the rest of my account, was hurting the rest of my account, right? So if we look at my clan boss team now, his replacement was an epic. And if you see right here, you'll see his replacement was Farrakhan the Fat. And so this team runs, everyone in here is completely dedicated to clan boss. Their builds, their speeds, everything. And they are untouched. They don't get touched. In some cases, to their own detriment. I could probably make this team do more than 98 million damage, but it's sometimes not fun tinkering with speeds, and especially with the way of auto battles now. The, what do they call them? Instant battle or quick battle. With the way quick battle works, I could get burned and not know why, and then have to go through a whole troubleshooting process. So if it ain't broke, don't fix it, right? But I'm telling you guys this to try and familiarize you with the concept, right? And that concept is having a locked team that doesn't get touched. The problem with areas like whoops, which is one of the next areas I want to work in, like Sand Devils. If you look at the team I use there, it uses my Newt. Well, I need Newt to have a lot. I need him to have high accuracy for hard Fire Knight. I need him to have different speed than what I might want him to have in this stage. And as a result, you'll see I'm having trouble kind of getting up through these stages to get him into 25. So that's what I love about the team I'm going to show you. It is an all rare team for Phantom Shogun's Grove. And we're going to talk about a lot of things. This isn't just like, hey, check out this team. So what I would really recommend, I'm going to give you guys a lot of advice on how to make this team work for you, and it's not going to be easy. You're not just going to be able to copy my speeds and put this team into Phantom Shogun's Grove and get to 25. If you're already at 25, this is probably a great replacement for your team that could potentially free up other champions. If you are not at stage 25, this is going to be a pain in the butt to get to. But we'll talk about that in a second. I first want to give you a rundown of the team. So, all rares. The cornerstone of this team would have probably have been in your team even if you had all legendaries. And you could do this with all legendaries. For example, you could do Acrizia Newt. Now, if you do that, there's affinity issues, right? But if we ignore the affinity issues, you could do this with Newt, Acrizia, Septimus, or just keep the cold hearts, right? But this could be um, any 3-turn cleanser. Pythion comes to mind. Is Mithrala? I think Mithrala's on a 3-turn. If it is, then she would work. I don't remember off the top of my head, but any cleanser, a full cleanser on a 3-turn can do what Reliquary does. And then, to be honest, any unkillable on a 3-turn cooldown could do what Paragon does as well. I don't know if MX is on a 3-turn or not. I'm just curious, and I went to look. Um, so it is not. It's on a 4-turn. So Paragon's probably not as flexible in this team. Um, except as champions. Yeah. Yeah, you would need to bring cooldown reduction to make Emic kind of work, but there's really no reason to when you can make Paragon work at level 50. And I just want to verify the cooldown. Yeah, 2-turn cooldown, unkillable, crazy good. But these could be different champions. Very easily, these could be different champions. Gnarlhorn is in and Paragon are pretty much paramount to the concept of this team, but any 3-turn cleanse, full cleanse, and your best DPS, if you're looking for stage 25 affinity, then you would want to go with something that's good against magic. So force affinity champions if you can. Might take you a little bit longer than using 2 void enemy max HP champions, but I think you guys kind of get the idea there. So why I love this team is because Cold Heart, despite the fact that I do use Cold Heart still in Dark Fae, we've got a few rotations before Dark Fae comes back up, and I wanted to get a full auto team there anyways. And I think Cold Heart's probably going to get the boot there. So I was okay taking my Cold Heart and completely ripping her to pieces and putting her here. Now, it's funny, she's still in my hard Fire Knight team. And it still works, which I found out. The hard, I ran it, and I was like, wait, why is she dying? And I was like, oh, I friggin' changed her. But I did still get through the Fire Knight tournament we just did, and it worked out fine. It just probably was a little slower. But I'm going to go fix that team anyways. It's only stage 2 of hard, and I have 2 newts now, so I need to get them built and get them speed tuned and everything. So, okay. Now, let's talk about this team here, and I'll show it to you on the optimizer. Now, the great thing is, if you haven't used the Hell Hades optimizer, you may be very confused about what I'm about to show you. But basically, if you do use go to hellhades.com and start to learn about and use the optimizer there, it will give you team suggestions. This is how Cold Heart found Odd One. This is how Odd One found the team, and he made a video about it, which I was very intrigued by because I desperately wanted to do stage 25 of this boss, and therefore I copied it. But then I learned a lot of lessons. That's the part that I want to make the video about and kind of share with you some of those lessons that I learned. But right here, this is the team. These are the speeds. So you're going to want to have 180 on. This is not my team. This is the team that was recommended to me. So all the other stats are different, but the important part is the speeds. 180 speed for your Gnarlhorn. You need your Gnarlhorn to have more crit damage than your Cold Hearts. That is very important. The boss will target whoever has the most crit damage. You need Gnarlhorn to be the person that takes that target, and we'll talk about why in a second. 245 on one of your Cold Hearts, 284 on your Reliquary Tender, 252 on the second Cold Heart, and then 175 on the Paragon. And I want to be perfectly clear. These speeds could be completely different from what Odd One's speeds were in his video. This was a team I found. The speeds worked. I went with it. So I have had to change my speeds a lot through this experience, and we will talk about that. But for stage 25 full auto, those are the speeds that I recommend going with. To achieve those speeds, you will see that I'm very impressed with this Reliquary Tender that doesn't have any masteries, but I went with on the mastery front. Let me show you my champions here. So on the masteries, I did go Lore of Steel for a lot of them in order to hit the speed thresholds because they don't have that great of gear for these champions to hit those speed thresholds. So you'll see on every champion that has masteries, they have Lore of Steel. Now, the two slowest champions are Gnarlhorn and Paragon. You don't even need masteries. You don't even need a 6-star Paragon. I have mine at 5-star at level 50. Just because other ones that I've seen had him at least at 50, so I figured I'd be safe, but you don't even need to have him 60. Very easy to build him. You do want to have blessings on them, and we'll kind of talk about the boss mechanics here in a second. That just makes it safer more than anything else. The reality is it's perfectly tuned, so there should not be any way that it fails. But having a higher blessing, like a 6-star blessing here, just makes it safer. Giant Slayer on the two Cold Hearts because they're only going to use their A1 and their A3. Do not use the A2. Reliquary Tender with War Master. The one that I just showed you, you can put masteries on Gnarlhorn. It won't hurt anything. In fact, it might speed it up a little bit for you, get you a little bit more damage. I don't mind it being slow and conserving those resources for myself. But I did want to have Lore of Steel for the champions that I needed to get the high speeds. And those are high speeds for my account. They may not be high speeds for most accounts, but for my account, to hit their crit damage and crit rate targets and also hit those speeds, I didn't really have the gear for it because I do have a lot of champions built in this game, and I didn't really want to, and I had to make it work, I had to steal gear from a lot of champions, and it was kind of painful, but I really wanted this team, so I did my best, and I made it work. Now, let's talk about all the things about how the team kind of works. So the way that the boss works is he targets whoever has the highest crit damage. That's our Gnarlhorn. We built him high crit damage, the highest on the team, and then at 180 speed. So he always targets Gnarlhorn. Gnarlhorn gets unkillable from Paragon and therefore never dies. Now the boss can ignore unkillable if he gets enough stacks. To reduce those stacks, you have awakening. So if you did this with 0 awakened rares, I don't think you could beat it. You think you have to have at least some awakening. Every time he gets hit with an awakening with a champion that is awakened, it reduces his stack counter, and that stack counter is what makes him do a lot of damage and will eventually let him ignore unkillable. And your tank, which is Gnarlhorn, would then completely die because unkillable is the only thing keeping him alive. Let's look at the team setup here. I've already talked about it a little bit, but we'll come in here and I'll show you. So I turn Gnarlhorn is only A1ing. Don't worry about anything else. Yes, he has his own self unkillable. You don't need it here. Cold Heart. Heartseeker as much as possible. If you looked at the team that was up on the screen a second ago, they have refresh abilities, refresh gear, trying to just keep that Heartseeker coming up as much as possible, which is what you want. Otherwise, you want to use Flurry of Arrows, not Art of Pain, to get those giant killer Giant Slayer, whatever it's called, get those hits. Reliquary Tender opens with her A1, and then will cleanse every time he does his debuff, which is Enfeeble, and you'll see how that works here in a second. Same thing for this Cold Heart, and then for Paragon, just prioritizing the Unkillable. So we'll back out, and we'll go ahead and use the team, and then I'll talk to you about all the challenges that I had that you're going to face as well with this team. And I have a much easier way for you to solve it than the way that I did. And we'll talk about that in a second. All right. Let's go ahead and do a run. So you'll see the boss opens up and does the and targets Gnarlhorn right away. Takes him to half health. He does need to have some HP and defense. So when you're building him, you want crit damage, not crit rate, crit damage. In fact, he doesn't even need to be crit rate capped. You don't need it. So he's just a tank. But you do want him to have pretty high HP. Now mine I think is around 60,000 or so. That's what the HP here is, and you'll see it only takes him to half. Now after this, Unkillable will be on him, so he won't take any more hits. We're gonna go ahead and go to auto here. I'm gonna slow it down. So Heart Seekers are going out. As you can see, that's chunking the boss down quite a bit. Now we're gonna have the Unkillable placed, and the boss takes a turn and places Enfeeble and Decreased Defense on everybody. I forgot to talk about why Gnarlhorn is so good and why you want him to be the target. You'll notice that the original Enfeeble placement is not possible to be cleansed, right? It's a protected debuff. Gnarlhorn, in his A1, he cannot get a critical hit, but he also cannot get a weak hit. He can only normal hit. Because of that, he's the perfect tank for this mechanic, for this protected Enfeeble. So by doing that, the boss is basically just going to target him the entire time. He can't kill him because of Unkillable, and he will never increase. Anytime he gets hit by somebody with Enfeeble, it increases his stacks. More stacks, more damage he does to us, the worse everything is. I'm going to put it back on auto, and you'll see Reliquary Tender will do her cleanse. And then we're just A1ing here. And he's just going to keep targeting Gnarlhorn. The little bit of healing doesn't matter. Gnarlhorn, at this point, will not die because we will continue to keep him alive with Paragon. You'll see there he's still under Unkillable. Paragon's going to have a turn here. I'm going to put it back to ×2 here. Paragon takes a turn, Unkillable is reapplied, and rinse and repeat. Our speeds are perfectly tuned, so Reliquary Tender will always remove Enfeeble, and this ticker never goes up that much higher. Now you see how the ticker went down? That's because we have Awakenings on all of these rares. When he gets hit by Awakenings, it reduces the ticker. What I'll do... Let me let the cleanse go off, and then I'll kind of... I guess I can't show you. Unless I don't cleanse. But, I'll show you on stage 24. And when I talk about the problems that you're going to face. So, this is just a perfect team that revolves around Gnarlhorn. Like I said, the key is Gnarlhorn and Paragon. Any 3-turn cleanser works, but why does Reliquary Tender make sense? Reliquary Tender makes sense because I don't have to use her anywhere else. Mithrala, I'm going to use somewhere else. Elva, I'm going to use somewhere else. I don't know if she has a cleanse or not. Off the top of my head, I think she does. Pythion, I'm going to use somewhere else. All the cleansers I currently have on my team, I'm going to use somewhere else. And I don't want them to be stuck in the speeds for this fight. Now, I don't know that anyone's going to complain about having a cleanser that's at 284 speed, but what if I have to sacrifice other stats in order to make that work? Here, Reliquary Tender doesn't get hit. She can have, like, very little HP and be totally fine. So, because he only does other damage to everyone else when he kills the initial target, which is Gnarlhorn. So, with the way the speeds are set up, there's no harm here. But it's a rare. I never had her leveled. I leveled her for this. I've never used her anywhere in the game, but I kept one just in case. Here's the just in case, and now I'm able to throw her in there and never touch her again. And now I have a team locked in to farm stage 25 of Phantom Grove. So I'm very happy about that. Again, Coldheart may be a big champion on your account. Like my free to play account, I have a Paragon, I have a Reliquary Tender, I have one Coldheart, who's not built yet, but the second damage dealer could be anybody, to be honest, right? Like it could be Kale if I wanted it to be. Um, I don't know how he's going to do a lot less damage than the Cold Hearts will, and it's easier with two Cold Hearts. But theoretically, as long as the speeds are right and they don't have like an extra turn mechanic or anything, screwing everything, and they're not bringing buffs to the team that would potentially screw it up, this all would work perfectly with anybody kind of in the speed there. I'm not the expert here. That would be odd one. But I'm kind of just giving you guys, I'm trying to answer questions you guys may have as you go along in the video. So, why is this stage so important? That's where you get the Chaos Powder. This is how you can re-roll the Ascension bonuses of your artifacts. Being able to farm here is super important for your account. Not let alone being able to enhance those artifacts in the first place, right? You're going to get the highest materials to be able to enhance, and then also get the dust or the powder to re-roll them. It's only a % chance, but you want that chance, right? So now let's talk about the challenge of this team that no one ever talks about, right? What they do, and this is not a knock on anybody, but it's a reality. This team works. It works on stage 25. You're good to go. But that's not the case. If you're like me, I was on like stage 12, if not lower. I might have been on like stage 10 or 11. I don't remember. But I built this team exactly as he said. Well, guess what? The team's not going to work at these speeds down in these other stages. That's kind of the problem. You need to evolve your team up through the stages. There was a period of time where I basically just I had to manual all of these stages, and I just took a whole piece of gear off of Reliquary Tender to get her speeds lower and then put it back on later. The hardest one for me was stage 24. So the team is perfectly built right now. If I go in here, I'll waste 18 energy and kind of show you guys that the team isn't going to work on auto at all. So we'll kind of just let it do its thing. And it looks like it's going to work, right? It's going really well. We get the cleanse off. Man, this looks great. Why wouldn't this work? Everything's timed just right. Well, it's not. The boss is a little bit slower. So the boss's speed... Uh-oh. He's not protected. Oh, no. It didn't work on auto. Okay, well, what if I manual it? He has his own unkillable. So if I manual it, maybe I can get past, right? Well, let's try that. Let's come in here on manual and we'll try that. So I know we got an A1 there. We A3. We A3. And this may be coming across patronizing, and I don't mean for it to be. Many of you have probably played this game for a long time and understand speed tunes only work on the boss that they're attuned for. However, not everybody knows that. Not everybody has as much experience in the game, and I know that most of the people that watch my content are here to learn something new. So I'm not trying to talk down to anybody. I'm simply trying to inform you that you're going to have a hard time making this team work as you're coming up through the ranks to get to stage 25. And it's a lot harder to figure out the speeds because you may not have a template like I have on how to complete it, right? I have this template that I can just say speed, 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 speed. Creating the level 25 team took me 2 tries, and I was good to go. So, and I don't even remember why I think I forgot someone's speeds on the first one, right? So, this is a trick I did use to get through some of the stages. It does not work on every stage. Very important. But this is what I would try first. Okay? So, anytime, and this is just me, anytime I had 1 stack of unkillable, I would use one of my unkillable abilities from either one of the champions, right? Now that would fix the problem. Okay, so I'll save Paragons for the next time I'm at 1 turn on unkillable, right? And then, okay, look, he took it, right? There, we're good to go. And Reliquary was able to cleanse. Perfect. We're looking good now. I think we're fine, right? As long as I manual it, I'll get through stage 24. That'll get me to stage 25 where I can auto, and we're perfect. This is going to be great. So we're just going to keep on going here. Look, we have 1 stack of unkillable, so I'll go ahead and place the unkillable again, just to be safe, right? We don't want to risk it coming off at the wrong times. And we'll just keep on going here. All right. I know what's gonna happen because it happened to me 1,000 times. But I'm playing it out so that you guys can see it happen. And kind of and just have a full understanding of kind of what I'm talking about. Oh wow, maybe maybe this will work. I was being patronizing earlier, but this manual approach may actually work. In my testing, well, to get through this level, I had to change everybody's speeds specifically for the speed of the boss here, and still had to manual it, by the way. I think this is where we're about to have our problem. So, yeah, we're about to hit the problem here. We did make it quite a ways through, though, which is good. We might not hit the problem. I don't know. Yeah, see, here's the problem. Okay. This is where the speed tune just failed, right? Because Reliquary Tender is going to use her A1, and we all have Enfeeble now. Now, all is not lost. There is still a potential to get out of this. We just need Reliquary Tender to cleanse all this off. But we...
Shoot him, Kevin!
Thank you, Cody, for the subscription in the middle of this video. But we don't want to give him too many stacks. So we do... Here I'm manualing. This is not something you can auto, but I'm manualing. And I used the A2 there to make sure I don't get too many stacks. If I use the A3, and then, yeah, see, he gets a turn before I get to cleanse him off, and that changes the mechanics, and he wipes the whole team. That right there is what I was struggling to get past on stage 24 for several hours. Now, how did I resolve it? Let's talk about that part. And sorry for the longer video, guys, but I want to be kind of clear on how to do this. So I resolved it by going back into this variations thing, or not variations, sorry, this find team thing, and I just changed it to stage 24. I said find a team. I said must include Paragon, because these are the champions I built to do this, and Reliquary Tender. And I applied the filter. And here are the teams that are suggested. Now you'll notice that that I'm not using a newt. I just made one of my cold hearts 247 speed, and it had an 80% success rate. You will see that they had to manual it. Oh no, they had it on full auto. I had to manual it when I did it. And the speeds are quite different than what the speeds are at stage 25, which was frustrating, but I just had to rebuild the team a second time. So that's how I got through stage 24. If you're struggling with the stage, try using the optimizer to suggest a team to get through that stage. If you are somebody that has already cleared it and you have a consistent team on Phantom Groves, but you want to use those champions elsewhere at different speeds or different tunes, maybe have more accuracy, maybe have more HP, less HP, more crit damage, because you don't want to build a super high crit damage Gnarlhorn, whatever the case may be for you, ultimately, I would recommend using this team because it will basically free up those champions to work for you elsewhere. Um, but for me, the hardest part was getting to stage 25. And that's an important thing to remember anytime you get a video that talks about, hey, this team works at stage 25. Uh, Case in point, Godseeker Newt works at stage 25 at specific speed and HP thresholds. If I go down here and try and do it at those speeds and HP thresholds, it's not going to work. So I have to work my way up there. And I don't think I have the gear or the ability to do it yet. But I have another team that I actually want to build for Sand Devils that I think is going to be better and maybe more fun, anyways. Possibly faster. I doubt it. Sand Devil sucks for speed, and I don't have a burner that activates the burn on placement like a ninja or Walking Tomb Drang. So that's a story for another video. But I did want to talk to you guys about this. I wanted to show off this team, and you know, I will put a link in the description for Cold Hearts, or I keep calling him Cold Heart, for Odd One's video about this team originally, and I hope I was able to give you guys a little bit more enlightenment and kind of education on how to go about utilizing these teams when you see them from a content creator. Keep an eye out for teams like this. I mean, first of all, it's all rares, which means it's pretty free to play friendly. You know that you. I'm not complaining, right? I wouldn't be complaining, right? I have already on my free to play. I'm short one Cold Heart. I have everybody else on this team, so because Gnarlhorns are pretty easy to get. So you know, when you consider it from that point of view, I could have a team as long as I can hit the speeds. Probably can't on my free to play as it stands. Probably don't have the blessings either on my free to play as it stands, but doesn't change the fact that I could easily build these champions. So, you know, it is free to play friendly, which is great. But for the biggest value that I see from this team is being able to free up really high quality champions. Like a lot of people use Emic in here for his unkillable mechanic, right? You probably need him to be very fast. You probably need cooldown refresh. You probably need all these different things. Some people are probably already using Paragon, but people maybe have their Newts or their Acrisias in there. You know, I wouldn't complain if my Acrisia was that fast, but I gotta wonder if her crit damage might take a hit to hit those speeds. Or maybe I don't have her in Relentless gear at that point. In fact, Relentless gear, I don't know if it would or not, but I never understand how Relentless works, that extra turn, if that interferes with speed tunes like this or not. I truly don't. I feel like it should, but I've seen other people with speed tunes run Relentless, and their speed tunes are fine, usually on their damage, right? So it's something that I know, and I know I can look it up. It's just one of those things that I can't think of right now. So, all right. Well, I hope that helps you guys. I was super excited. I've been working on that team for about a week now, leveled them all up, built all their gear. I actually built all their gear during a previous artifact enhancement, thinking it was during this one. So at least I got points and rewards for it. But yeah, very, very excited about that team. That's one area of the game that is now complete, and now Artifact Ascension is unlocked. So this Newt artifact, I can start re-rolling it, right? I can get to work now, get that thing re-rolled until I get the magical crit damage that is so amazing. And then this one, this Acrisia one, I can now ascend to the higher level because I can farm these materials that I need to get this all the way ascended up. So, I'm super excited to have this boss unlocked. I'm looking for the next Phantom Grove tournament. Is it just me, or has there not been a Phantom Grove tournament in a while? Let me know in the comments, because I feel like there hasn't been one in a while. Either way, thank you all so much for watching. Thank you for all the support. I'll spare you guys my speech right now and call it a video. So I will see you in the next one.